In this video, we're going to take a look at the export options in BluePrint PCB. I did want to start with a document template set here, and this is my starting point for when I'm ready to start documenting a design. I'll simply import the CAD database, and then it'll create a lot of these views for me from these templates, drill patterns, stack ups, drill charts, where it got an assembly panel drawing, top and a bottom side view, and a parts list. But what you would do once you've created this template is you're going to either save that off as a blueprint file that you would open each time that you're going to start documenting the design, or, and this is what most of our users do, we're going to make this a startup file. So that's this option here. And we add that to the startup files. Startup files can be out on a network site so that everybody can access them. And then your templates are the same for each of your users. Alright, so if we save that as a startup file, the next time we open up BluePrint, we get this dialog, which we can then choose the startup file that we want to use. And I may have different ones for different reasons, different units. I have one specifically for flex here, I have one for rigid, and I just say OK, and it brings up that template. And again, I would just import my CAD database to complete my document set, or at least get started on my document set. Now here's an example of one that's already populated. I've brought in my data and we've started on creating our finished document set. And now I'm ready to either export this or print it so that I can send it off to manufacturing. And we have choices there. The most common of those, of course, is PDF. Most of our users are either going to print to PDF using the Adobe Writer, in which case we can just go ahead and send that out. And it will create a PDF of our document set. Another option might be to create or export PDF from BluePrint. Now, what that means is, as opposed to printing, is that we actually export using the Adobe option in BluePrint. And as you can see, here's the same document set that was exported, and where I got that is export PDF. Now this is an option, so not all users have this, and the main reason they get this option is to have the ability to import PDF, but it does come along with the export option. We can also export DXF. And once we've exported DXF, we can open it up in one of the AutoCAD viewers and take a look at that document set. And here is our document set in the Autodesk viewer, and it splits it up into separate pages, and you can go from page to page here. Another, and perhaps the simplest option, is I just save the file. So I save it as demo.dpd, and then we have a free database viewer, and it will view any BluePrint database. And what I'll do is I'll just simply open that DPD file. Now the advantage to using the viewer is that since it is something that we've written here at Downstream, and it's not another third party like Adobe, is that any embedded files will show up here. So under the imported content, if you've embedded anything like maybe a Centroid report, that'll show up, or maybe your Gerber layers, you want to include those, that will show up. And any hyperlinking that you've done, and that's addressed in other videos, but as you can see, there's a few hyperlinks in here. There's one to a video here, and then there's some to actually a 2D representation of the board here, where I can go straight from the parts list. But you can hyperlink extensively in BluePrint, and those links will be active if you use the BluePrint viewer. One thing I should mention about the viewer, though, is that we actually will regenerate the 3D view in here as well. So again, giving you an advantage to using the 3D viewer versus something like Adobe. We also have what's called pack and release. What pack and release is going to do is it's going to allow me to choose which of my documents that I want to export, any additional files, and I can even time how long they're accessible to the user. It goes ahead and creates a single executable file that the user on the other side just runs, and it creates the DPD file essentially, and then they can open it up in the BluePrint viewer and view the document set. But if it is timed, if you just send it off for something like quoting, they'll only be able to access it for a certain number of days. There's one more option as far as exporting your data, and that is publish to web. And what that does is creates an HTML version of the document set. And it can be opened up in Internet Explorer. It is limited to IE right now. We are, as we go forward, going to open it up to other browsers, but it is limited to Internet Explorer. It basically creates an HTML file that you would open in your Internet Explorer browser. And lastly, we have the ability to create things like a CSV of your parts list or a coordinates list, and those can be exported from the tool as well. But these would be your export options in BluePrint PCB.